Welcome to Redtastic. Story 1. So, my mother-in-law never really liked me, 27 female. I was already earning as an artist when I was dating her son, my husband 30, while he was working in a company, and she was never okay with that. She thinks being an artist is not a real job, but nonetheless she tolerated our relationship even until my husband and I got married. But she always made sure that I saw her hatred though, like purposely cutting me off during conversations or excluding me when there's a family picture time during the holidays. My husband is aware of our situation and thankfully he never pushed me or his mother to like each other. We never got to fix our relationship because my husband and I live separate from my in-laws. I only get to see my in-laws during the holidays. I had another part-time job working at the city hall but quit because I was starting to gain more commissions for my art. Plus my online art prints were starting to sell out. My mother-in-law did not like that I had quit my job. She texted me once about it, asking what I was thinking, but no matter how I explained to her, she never understood. She also made her hatred known by sharing posts on Facebook about wives who just sit pretty and do nothing to support their husband. I didn't engage in any of her posts and just ignored them. Thankfully, my husband supports me on my decision. A week ago, my husband left for a business trip and he will be back in time for Thanksgiving. My mother-in-law decided she would host a Thanksgiving dinner and planned to make it grand because my husband just told us that his business deal was a success and that he would stand a chance to be promoted. I was so excited for him, and initially I thought I would be invited to the dinner since it's my husband they're celebrating. But I was wrong. My mother-in-law texted me that she made changes and she only wanted family members to the dinner, and of course, I wasn't invited. I was sad, but I still gave her the benefit of the doubt. I was still going to see my husband after the dinner, and I knew better than to argue with her, knowing how she is. But then just 2 days before the dinner, I got a text from my sister-in-law, my husband's brother's wife, asking what the theme of the dinner was and what I was going to wear to the dinner. I told her I wasn't invited and how mother-in-law said it would be just them. She was shocked, because mother-in-law never told her the same. She even said some close friends of theirs were invited. This angered me. I could understand that she hates me, but to not invite me to my own husband's dinner party is ridiculous. Even lying to me about it. I decided to host my own dinner, inviting my family and some mutual friends of my husband and I. Thankfully, most of them were available and had told me that they could come. My mother-in-law heard of this and threw a fit, telling everyone I was trying to ruin her dinner by hosting my own at the same time as hers. Some of our relatives believed her and saw me as the villain. It even reached my husband and he called me about it. I explained the situation to him and he felt so angry for me and promised me that he was gonna talk to his mother. He also said that he would go to my dinner even though I told him he should go to his mother's. The day before the dinner, my mother-in-law had called me non-stop telling me that I should cancel my dinner, telling everyone we know how cruel I was for ruining her dinner that she worked so hard to put together. Some of our relatives still believe her and have texted me about it. But I ignored everything they said and didn't cancel my dinner. My mother-in-law is really angry with me and I think I've made our relationship worse. But am I really the a-hole? Update. My husband talked with my mother-in-law right after he arrived and he did come to the dinner I hosted instead of his mother's dinner party. Our other relatives were also starting to understand the situation. How I was never the villain. Some of them have texted me and some of them just didn't care. My mother-in-law though, she texted me after that night saying sorry about excluding me. Her text felt forced, but I was still happy that she said sorry. I want to say thank you to everyone who sided with me and said I was mistreated by her and never the a-hole. Thank you all so much for your comments. You're not the a-hole, OP, and I'm glad you stood up for yourself by throwing your husband your party. Your mother-in-law left you out of the party she will be hosting to celebrate your husband's success. Her excuse of it being family alone is dumb. Your family, you got married to her son, and then you found out that all was a lie. She didn't just invite family, you're the only one she left out of the party. She sounds mean and horrible. I'm glad your husband talked to her and came to your party. Hopefully after this apology of hers, she stops being mean to you, and if she doesn't quit, keep standing up for yourself. Story 2. I'm visiting my girlfriend's family for the first time and they're kind of rich. They have a maid who comes and tidies up for a bit every day. My family isn't broke, but we've never had people working for us, and it made me super uncomfortable. Like, who am I to have someone serving me and cleaning around me while I sit there? I can't imagine if my mom were witnessing that, she would flip. So I got up and started to help her tidy up. She thanked me for the help and told me I really didn't have to worry about it. But I told her it was no trouble. It really wasn't. We were just sitting watching TV. Later that night, my girlfriend's parents asked me not to help the maid clean because it was a boundary thing and her work was her work. And guests are guests. I told them it made me really uncomfortable to have someone clean around me, and they just said, not to worry because she's paid well and has been with them a long time. The next day it happened again and it made me so uncomfortable. I said, "Hey, let's go outside," to my girlfriend, but she was busy on her laptop. So eventually I couldn't help it. I had to jump up and help her out. Her parents walked in and looked pissed, and my girlfriend finally clued in and ushered me outside. I'm still so confused by the situation. I'm not sure if I was in the wrong for helping her clean or if I'm the wrong now for not helping her. My instinct is to help, but when I do, people get pissed. So, if you understand the dynamic better than me, please clear this up. Am I the a-hole for helping her clean? You're the a-hole, OP. Your girlfriend's parents asked you not to help the maid with cleaning and you need to respect that. On top of that, you might not even be helping. You might just be getting in the way and she's just too polite to say so. It would be one thing if you saw her walking down the hall with the laundry basket and held a door open for her as you passed. But you're kind of just involving yourself in her business and her job that she gets paid well for. Now for some comments. We ran a motel for 20 years and hated when someone helped us. Some guests would strip the bed and toss all the sheets on the floor. Some would make a bed that needed to be changed. All of this throws off your rhythm and makes your job much harder. Also, it implies that you feel sorry for the worker. I know you don't mean to, but it feels condescending. Let the professional be professional. You're the a-hole, but only in the meaning of thinking, I think you shouldn't help the maid. Of course you aren't an ass for helping. In the end, it's the maid's job to clean. You are interfering with her work. Would you help a guy at McDonald's put together your burger? Would you help the waitress in a restaurant and bring your dishes back to the kitchen? And you are a guest. If your host doesn't want you to do a certain thing at their place, then you just shouldn't do it. You're the a-hole. I've been on both sides in the story. I worked as a house cleaner and I've hired my house cleaner for the past 10 years. I care less about what the girlfriend's parents want and more about what makes the maid comfortable. As a house cleaner, I had a routine to get the place sparkling as efficiently as possible. A homeowner, much less a guest of the homeowner, jumping in is not helpful. It is disruptive. Likewise, when my house cleaner comes to my home, I get the hell out of the house so she can do her job without feeling like I'm supervising her. No one wants their boss standing over them while they work. Please give this poor woman some space because you are not helping by helping. Story 3. My son begged and begged us for a dog for years. I knew he wasn't going to take care of him and we would end up doing it, but we decided to get a family dog when he was 12 and our youngest was 10. Our oldest lost interest after a few months and plays with Gizmo occasionally but doesn't walk him or feed him. Surprisingly, our youngest did take care of Gizmo and did most of the chores and training associated with having a dog. I'm quite proud of him for doing all that, seeing as he never asked for a dog. Gizmo and him are pretty inseparable and it's clear Gizmo prefers him to anyone else in the family. We have him sleep in his crate, but if we bring him and we sleep in a hotel, Gizmo will sleep with my youngest. It's been 3 years now my oldest is asking for another dog because Gizmo isn't his. I told him Gizmo is the family dog and it was up to him to train and spend time with him when he was a puppy, but he didn't. He got angry and yelled that his brother stole his dog. My husband just wants to get another one to appease him, but we only agreed on one dog and I don't want another one. We agreed to not get another dog, but I worry it will cause my older to hate my younger because Gizmo prefers his brother. I've tried to encourage our older one to take Gizmo out more and train him, but he's lost interest and wants a new puppy for himself. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole and die on the hill of not getting another dog. Your son needs to learn there are consequences to his actions. He asked for a dog, neglected the dog, and now the dog loves someone else more than him. If he can't even maintain interest in the current dog, what makes you think he'll be able to do with the new one? Lol, not the a-hole. I would have no problem saying no to my kids. In fact, I told my children no to another dog last week. Dogs are living things and they deserve to be loved and taken care of. We just don't have the time to do that for another dog as well. It's a lot of responsibility and my kids share that between each other for our adopted dog Ruby, who is the best by the way. Not the a-hole. Your husband and your oldest sure are though. It's no wonder your son is turning out the way he is, considering his father is an enabler and would rather give in to avoid a fight than actually be a parent. If your husband doesn't pull his shit together and actually parents your son instead of destroying whatever education you are trying to instill on him, I shudder to think of how entitled he will end up being once he is fully grown. Luckily, your oldest son has learned your common sense and is a good and responsible person. He will probably be an awesome adult.